Hi, everybody, and welcome to the July reading for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or Jupiter. If you need help finding your placements, there's a link down below. Also, if you need to reverse the roles for this reading, feel free to do so because energy comes out however it comes out. So if you're watching for Sagittarius, this could feel like a message for you about your Sagittarius. So I'm looking at the bottom of the deck. It looks like there was some indecision around, well, a lot of stuff, to be quite frank. But what it led to was not being able to stay in a situation or solidify a situation. So either there was no commitment or there was a separation. It kind of looks like there's somebody that you could have met at work with the career coming out. But that would be after some sorrow or heartache, right? I'm also seeing that whoever this new energy is, that led to you having to make a choice possibly between multiple people. So if you were separating from someone and then single and met someone new, you may be trying to figure out or have had to figure out how to progress the relationship. However, it looks like it did not happen. So I'm just looking at the bottom of your tarot deck because it kind of feels like you're on some kind of weird break, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But I'm seeing that it seems as though you found some happiness, right? Or maybe you just made the decision that you want to be happy. I feel like you've had a lot going on, and it's almost like in some ways you're ignoring your love life for the simple fact that you feel like it's a little bit out of your control. Now, your past energy for your situation was the Four of Cups in the upright. So it looks as though, like I was saying, the relationship or whatever you were working on never really got off the ground. This is a feeling of being bored, and this is a collective energy between you and your person. Now, Sagittarius, for your energy, you're coming through as the Page of Pentacles. For your person's energy, they came through as the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So this is showing me that this was something that you felt like you could give your time or your attention to, but you were taking a while to decide what you wanted, right? Or you were taking a while to really solidify this offer. It looks as though your person stopped putting the work into this connection because they were tired of waiting, right? And I'm saying that because in your person's energy, I see them walking away from this. It looks as though they've already gone, and you're kind of trying to figure out what to do about the aftermath of that situation. Now, we do have the Oracle card Maturity. And so I feel like this situation really kind of was the catalyst that made you look at love or situations in a different way. I feel like you probably have learned a lot from whatever this connection was. I don't feel like there's a lot of bitterness. I think that maybe in this connection, you were able to discover something new about yourself, because when you originally came into it, we had that Page of Wands in the reverse energy, which can talk about being immature, but it can also talk about having a hard time staying in one place. And I feel like whoever this energy was, this was someone that you actually thought you could possibly go the distance with this connection. Now, I'm not exactly sure what happened here because it'll be different for each one of you. I think maybe with this Page of Pentacles, you never really communicated how you felt because we have the Page of Swords coming out in the reverse. It could have been that you were waiting for your person to tell you how they felt, because with the collective energy being the Four of Cups, there's not a whole lot of paying attention to what's right in front of you, right? It's kind of like living in the moment, not really planning for the future, being pretty nonchalant about the connection. And so it could have been that both of you were kind of mirroring one another and fearing rejection, or at the time that you met one another, you had other things going on where you just couldn't give to this the way that you wanted to. So now moving forward, as I'm looking at your situation for the month of July, you have the Fool in the reverse, but you also have new love. So I'm seeing that there's been the ending that we talked about But I'm really curious because the Fool talks a lot about starting fresh. However, it's coming out in the reverse. With it being clarified with new love, it's like we have an energy of new and we have an energy of old, or we have an energy of you wanting to do something new, but not being sure how to go about doing it. So let me take a look at that. Okay, so this looks like you've been doing a lot of soul searching. I think that you've closed out a huge cycle in your life because as I was shuffling for you, I was feeling anxiety, but I was also feeling some relief here. I feel like you are willing to wait for what you want, and that's probably why that Fool energy is in the reverse. You're not wanting to jump into anything very quickly. I think that you've discovered so much about yourself that maybe your life has been a little bit hectic. And now that you've closed out that cycle, this is you trying to decide what you want, what's worth fighting for, what makes you feel good, right? And taking a look at if you've been investing in things that really couldn't go the distance, or taking a look at why things that you wanted never got off the ground, right? Tell me anything else for the Fool. Okay, so I can see that there's some disappointment here about the way this situation back here ended. This looks like you feel as though you've missed an opportunity with this connection. It's the energy of you feeling like you're still holding on to this a little bit. So I feel like you're really trying to wrap up any loose ends this month as far as emotionally before you go off on your next journey. You've found a new way to take control of your life. And I think that's really good because this is actually you coming to the realization that there's been something missing in the way you go about dealing with situations. This is you actually taking a look at the things that have triggered you in the past or perhaps made you run from love or miss out on opportunities. And this is you really taking the time you need to end that cycle so that when you do manifest this new partner, this will be something that can go the distance. So I'm very happy to be able to tell you that. Now, currently, what you're thinking about is the Hermit. So this is, again, taking a look at your life, deciding what lessons have you learned, what are you taking from the connections that you've been in before you go off and start on something new with that Chariot, right? This is you really taking the time to feel people out if you're dating, because you don't want to ignore any red flags. You don't want to put yourself in situations that look like anything you've dealt with in your past. But you also want to make sure that you have the right idea about how you're communicating yourself to people or you're expressing yourself. This is you actually thinking about moving forward and really letting your guard down and beginning to take control of your life in regards to love. So this is really good. This is amazing because you're looking at all of the things that you've been giving your time and attention to. Who have you integrated into your life? Has it served you to your highest potential? And you're really spending the time and energy to get into a space where you're no longer feeling so divided, right? There's no more indecision about what you want. You're not on the fence because now you know, but you also know how to go about getting it or presenting yourself when it arrives, or being open to manifest what you want and actually receive it when it comes. Because it seems like this was a kind of a learning experience. If you wanted something and then it seemed like you got it, but you didn't act on it, it makes it a little bit difficult for the universe to grant your wishes if when they come, you don't reach out and grab them, right? Now, what you're feeling is the Ten of Swords in the reverse. So this is interesting here because it looks like there's something that's not quite over yet. So let's look at that. Okay, so for some of you, you feel as though you've missed out on an opportunity to try to fix things over here or to solidify something over here. And this is becoming something it's kind of replaying in your mind because you feel as though you've made a mistake. And this is you feeling like you didn't give to the connection when you had a chance and wondering if this will be something that can be repaired. For others of you, you're very excited to move forward from whatever this was, or just kind of this old cycle in your life, because you want to start something new, but you're being very cautious about not putting yourself in a situation that looks similar to anything that you've seen. Now, what you'll be doing for the next few weeks is the Tower in the reverse. So this is you coming out of kind of the storm that you've been in. This is you trying to rebuild yourself, rebuild your life. For some of you, you're going to try to revisit this energy, this last energy, and apologize. It may not be that that's what I was going to say. It may not be that you want a relationship, but this could just be you trying to close out old cycles in your life. Get some more information about why things didn't work out over here so that as you move forward, you're not repeating the past with someone new, right? With this Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, you're trying to figure out what the purpose of connections were in your life, right? Tell me about Queen of Pentacles reversed. I think for some of you, you're curious to know if the person that you were dealing with is happy, if they seem like they're happy without you. Why would that be? Okay, because this person still has a place in your heart. And I feel like for some of you, because you're not sure why things didn't work out when things looked and felt like they were so perfect, there's still an energy of holding on to this a little bit, right? So I think you're looking for closure over the next few weeks so that you can decide if this is something that you could either work through and start as friends, or if this is something that you just need to get closure on and then move forward, right? This is kind of a waiting period, it looks like. Now, what will hurt is if you don't try, because we have the Magician coming out in the reverse. So this talks about not using all of the potential that's available to you, right? Not using all the skills that you've acquired throughout your journey. Tell me anything else. Okay. Okay. You know, the Magician is the kind of person that has a plan. So I can see that if you're thinking about contacting this energy up here, it's going to hurt if you don't know what you want to do, because you're no longer coming through as someone who has not had experience, right? You have the maturity you need to be able to make situations work. So the thing that I'm seeing here is what will hurt is if you present yourself to partners, whether it's this old person or new people, in the same way that you have been before, when in reality now you've gotten into a place where you're the King of Pentacles, right? You're not the same person that you used to be. And because of that, you're going to have to show the people, if you're trying to fix something from your past, that you've changed. But if you're trying to move forward, you're going to have to figure out what that looks like when you present that to new people that you want to deal with in the future, right? Because when we change so drastically, it's kind of hard to implement that new dynamic when we meet new people, because our first reaction is to kind of go back to what we know or the behavior that we know. And I don't think that that serves you anymore, right? Advice is the 8 of Wands. So this talks about moving forward, but it also talks about taking a risk. If you've been on the fence about trying to see what's going on with this older energy, this is saying that there's no harm in sending out that message. Let's see how it could be received. Okay. So it looks like if you're trying to contact somebody or a few people just to tie up loose ends, you're worried that they may not reply or that they might not believe that you changed. The 9 of Swords in the reverse is telling me that you're worrying a little bit more than you need to about this, because it looks like whoever, you're trying to touch base with, they would actually hear you out and listen to what you have to say. And this could actually turn into something more than you being separated from this energy. Now, 7 of Wands is coming out in the reverse for what can help. So with that being clarified by rejection in the reverse, you may be feeling very defensive or very offensive. So it's a good time to take a look at what are you being triggered by? What are you afraid of, right? It seems as though because you've changed so much, you'd like to have the opportunity to show people in your life that you're different, or to show new people in your life the new you, right? And so this is talking about not getting triggered into falling back into old patterns because you're fearing the worst, right? All right. So yeah, again, this is saying that you're not who you used to be. You may feel as though you've lost someone important to you, because if you look, this is your energy and you're looking away from this person over here. Tell me about that. But it doesn't look like they're necessarily gone. Okay. It's just hard because I feel like in the back of this person's mind, there's still the idea that they have about who you are or what you've shown them. But it does seem like if you come in and you tried, this person would probably tell you how you made them feel, is what this looks like. But it also looks like there could be a conversation that leads to them sharing your point of view, or at least seeing you in a new light. Now, when I look at your person's energy, Sagittarius, for the month of July, I do see that they've walked away from this connection. They're viewing you as taking a time out from speaking to them, or they feel as though, you may be wanting a second chance to try to clear the air. If you've been gone for a while, they feel as though you have a tendency to come back and then leave right away. So I can see why you're a little bit concerned about re-entering into this person's life, if this is a pattern that you've shown them in the past, right? This person feels like if you showed them that you were willing to put the work into rebuilding a connection, they'd actually have a discussion with you, is what this looks like. But they'd also want time to think, is kind of how they're viewing the situation. Now, how this is affecting them is the 3 of Wands in the reverse. And so there's a few things here. In your absence, they have decided to stop waiting for this connection to materialize and to do something new. It seems as though, like I said, the commitment could never quite get off the ground. So we have that situationship coming out in the reverse, showing that they didn't want to wait for this to become something else. But this also talks about you coming back into their life with the 3 of Wands in the reverse. That's exactly it, right? But this person is doing a lot of thinking too, because they're trying to figure out if they should move the connection forward with you, if they should move on without you, if they're giving into temptation by allowing you back in only to feel as though they don't know where things are going and then you will leave again. That's exactly it. And they also, they kind of feel that they can't trust you. So they know that they will have a decision to make about this. Now, your outcome is Strength and Friends in the reverse. So let's find out about that. What's that? Okay. So this looks a little bit bleak for the long run, but it looks as though initially this person will be able to have a conversation with you and hear what you have to say. They'll need some time to think about things. But this is, on the bright side, this is you finding out more information about yourself and why you've made the choices that you made based on the discussion that you have with this person. On the sadder side, this looks like this person could also try to hold back from you after they have the conversation, not only because they need time to think, but because they're trying to figure out if you're doing something else, if they can trust what you're saying to them, and yeah, if you're really showing them the real you. I feel like friendship is kind of not an option, exactly, because this is all or nothing with this person. Either you're going to be there 100% or they don't want it, is what's coming through here, because they feel like they should have been past this point in their life already. So this looks like somebody that you've been dealing with before. I did see that new love with the Fool, but I feel like this has more to do with you trying to decide if you want to move forward by yourself and meet someone new, and feeling that underlying feeling of there being unfinished business over here and going back over here and trying to figure out what this is. So I'm going to take a look at your oracle cards, and then we're going to take it to the extended reading, and we'll look at your person and how they feel about you. We're also going to look at how they feel about the situation, what they really want with you, what they're doing, what they will do, and why. Then we're going to see how that will affect you. We're also going to see what the advice is for how to deal with this person in the future. So let's see what we have. We've got miracle healing a lot. There's a lot of people that are trying to heal connections, right? But I feel like that's because there's a Mercury, is it Mercury retrograde in Cancer? Is that it? I'm not an astrologer, but I do know that Cancer always gets people right in the feels. And then the Mercury retrograde brings everybody back, right? And so maybe you're feeling as though you need to come back or tie up some loose ends so that you can really move forward once and for all. Let's see what we have. Yeah, helpful person has been coming out too. Maybe you're dealing with a Leo because they also got helpful person. All right, so we have make music, and it's being clarified by soulmate relationship. New romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. Now, you could be a musician and you could be dealing with someone that you actually partner with on projects. But this to me looks a lot like you're having the intention to create something. And it looks like what you'll be creating is a relationship with a soulmate, right? We have letting go, divine magic, extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So this is talking about letting go of the fears that you're holding on to because they're not serving you anymore, right? You've done the work. So now it's time to really show who you are and what you've done, what you've accomplished, right? Don't hold yourself back. We have miracle healing, father healing. Your personal power increases as you give any father-related issues to heaven. So maybe there's something about this relationship over here. It could have been that this person, maybe you thought it could go the distance, but you felt triggered because maybe you're a man and you're scared to be a father one day. Or, if you're a woman, perhaps you were hesitant because, you had issues with your own father and you saw your parents divorce, right? This is whatever this is you being able to close out a huge cycle that's been an issue in your life since childhood. And so it's not just about this partner that you were dealing with, but it really is about what happened in your family structure that you've been bringing into other romantic relationships. Because sometimes we manifest partners that very closely look like the parent that we have the most issues with, or the parent that was absent, right? Sometimes we recreate situations so that we can try to fix them again and get the result that we were looking for the first time around, right? Finally, we have kick up your heels, and that is being clarified by helpful person. Someone wants to help you think of whom that might be and initiate contact. So this kick up your heels is really talking about letting go. Try not to be so serious, right? Because I feel like I can feel your anxiety, but I also feel as though there's been kind of a weight lifted. There's a little bit of excitement here because you're starting to see a way out of some of the things that have been really holding you back, right? And even if whoever this is needs time to think, I still think that this person was able to help you gain a new perspective And in them doing that, it's probably because they cared about you very much to take the time to try to explain where they were coming from or help you to come through this time in your life where you were able to figure out something new about yourself, right? So if this person has shown you maybe in the past who they are or that they care, don't doubt that that's still the case, right? Sometimes relationships don't always go the way that you want them to go, but I genuinely don't feel a whole lot of animosity coming from this person at this time, even if perhaps you ended on bad terms. All right, I'm going to take this over to the extended reading, but thank you so much for allowing me to read for you, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye. I feel like your person is single. And I'm saying this because they're waiting to find that true love. Okay. I feel like this relationship, whatever the two of you went through, has really been a lesson for the both of you. And this person is very guarded, right? But we also have reunion and we have intimacy. So I do feel like this can take off if you make the effort. Now, how they feel about you is the Tower. So you are definitely telling them things that they don't know, right? 5 of Swords in the reverse. This is them feeling like you finally come to the realization that maybe not giving to the situation the way that you could have in the past, or things not getting off the ground, was actually more counterproductive than had you both really done the work to try to make things happen, right? This person feels as though they would like to give you a second chance because they can see a future with you. But I do feel hesitancy. And that's exactly what I was going to say with the Hermit. This person is really worried about making the same mistakes over and over with you. So at this point, with them feeling the Tower about you, it's like you came into their world and they feel like you kind of blew it up, but they don't feel like you stuck around to fix anything, right? And so for them, it's almost like they had to heal this on their own. And so this person kind of views you as being very, what's the word? It's like you're kind of the catalyst to them always having to rebuild after you go. And I think that for them, that's getting to be a little bit more than they can take, right?